Hey, Roger Martin here from Billings, Montana. Good day. I'm going to make a couple comments on this interview here and the one that we saw on television. This is CBSN, um, and I think it was another network that reported on it this morning as we watched the news. The interesting thing is this man has past record, this deacon here, this church, has a past record with law enforcement. I don't know if he was a policeman or what, but they mentioned that. He also was instrumental in the training with the security at his church. Unfortunately, our church does not allow weapons in it, and it could lead to some problems. Anyhow, he was instrumental in taking a shot. Unfortunately, there were two people killed with the shotgun that this crazy guy shot, and he was close to those individuals being fired at. So that's a problem. Also, the guy that came in had mental illness history. It's clear, and he had violence history. He was wearing a wig, a fake beard, and a long coat. All three were warning signs that we had their eyes and cameras on this guy as soon as he came in. So it was all recorded, all documented. The training, he teaches and said that he doesn't train to shoot a headshot, but it was a clear shot. He didn't want to shoot anybody. They had to get out of the way. This took less than 6 seconds. He fired one shot into the man's head and killed him. He did not get up after he was hit in the head with one shot, and they moved the shotgun away from him. And this is a little bit of this is seen on film.
He was potentially.
He had on a fake beard and a fake wig with a toboggan on his head and wearing a long coat. From where I was standing, I could see his right hand at all time, pretty much at all times. Could not see his left hand.
He pulls out that thing right there. These are two men in the way. They're pulling out weapons. I think he's the third man here. We'll see here in a moment. But there's trouble right there, and he pulls out the weapon. Now this is less than 6 seconds.
And apparently, with the shotgun he had, which was a 18-inch short barrel.
It was an 18-inch shot-off shotgun, which isn't very long. I guess it's legal in Texas, but not very long. He had that hit underneath the pocket or in his coat.
12 gauge with a pistol grip on it, which is a legal firearm.
It was a 12 gauge with a pistol grip on it.
He had it evidently in his pocket. I don't know this for fact. Evidently in his pocket and underneath his armpit, underneath the long coat. I know he discharged 2 rounds and possibly a third round as he was going down, because one round went towards the front of the sanctuary after he shot Richard and Tony, he went.
Now, Richard and Tony both died.
And started towards the front of the sanctuary, and that's when I, was able to engage him, and I fired 1 round.
You had eyes on him the moment he walked in the door.
Sir, from the time he walked in the door, we had him on eyes on him, both physical eyes and cameras.
Are you processing this? I mean, what are you thinking, or is it just instinct? You see a weapon and you draw yours.
My training, says that if I see a weapon, especially in that scenario, because that is my job, I am the deacon in charge of security at the church, and the people that were on the security team, we have spent numerous hours training and working on just this type of scenario, hoping it never happens. And those people who have known me and been in my classes know from the past. You train, but you hope you never have to go to that extreme. But if you do, your training will kick in, and that was evident yesterday.
You mentioned that you took a pause because there were people in the area.
And there were people in front of me between the shooter and myself trying to.
So again, the law enforcement training and other training that he's had, you've got to wait for those people to get out of the way or get into a position where they're not in a way, because You don't want to shoot innocent bystanders.
Because the chaos that erupted when he shot the first time, some of the people stood up and were trying to get in the way. I had to wait just a second because the whole thing was less than 6 seconds from start to finish. And,
And this is why training is so important. This is why law enforcement, this is why the NRA training. The NRA trains a lot of law enforcement. You've got to have training for these scenarios and these situations. The law enforcement are always training on different scenarios.
that was, I had to make sure I didn't hit it, someone, a member there, as they were right in front of them.
And at any point did you want to go check on Tony and Richard? You've talked about them right now. It sounds like they were friends.
Because other people were already coming in to check on them, my goal was to make sure the shooter didn't get up. And, when I went over.
So Tony and Richard, other people were checking on them, but they died. And his goal was to make sure the shooter did not get back up.
Over to cover him, I wanted to make sure that he was not going to get up. So that was my focus.
When you approached him, when you approached him,
I'm sorry.
no worries. When you approached him, did he say anything? Did he do anything?
There was no verbal communication out of him whatsoever at that point. He was down. He was bleeding profusely from his head, and the only movement was, just body twitching, which, happens, when someone is in that condition where they're about to die.
The rounds that put him down were yours.
Yeah, there was only one. I only fired one round, and it was, the only shot I had, which, was a headshot. Which, in my classes I teach not to take headshots.
So he teaches not to take headshots, but he didn't have a choice. He wanted to make sure he was down and done with. Headshots, you got to be more accurate, more quick. You usually take a chest shot, but he took a headshot.
But, that was what I felt, that's the only shot I had a clear shot, and I was comfortable taking the shot because of my training and my practice.
A lot of people are alive this morning.
Okay, so he said he was comfortable taking that shot. He did. Took a headshot. That ended it. Less than 6 seconds. 2 people were shot in those 6 seconds and killed. And he took a shot when he could and when it was clear. And that was the end of it. But what this video doesn't show, and I'm only into it 13 minutes, the other news program showed that this guy had a case of mental illness and a case of violence. And so that is a problem which has to be addressed too, and isn't. Unfortunately, it had to be handled this way. This is why I believe that church rulings to not have weapons in the building is not smart, because if you don't have weapons in the building and have security available to do this and training to do this, the shooter's going to have full advantage over you. Again, this is my opinion, and I'll stick to it. It's Roger Martin from Billings, Montana. What can we learn from this situation in Texas? Good day. Oh, also, President Trump called and commended him and said he's sorry for the loss of those 2 individuals. He commended Texas for their laws and their liberties, and this man and his team for his training. It's Roger Martin again from Billings, Montana. What can we learn from this situation? Good day.